This coming Thursday is the fast of Esther. Usually it's the day before Purim, but because Purim is on Sunday, which means the day before Shabbos, we bring it back to Thursday. Why do we fast? What's the fast of Esther? So there's a number of reasons. In the Megillah, we read that Esther asked Mordechai to go and gather all the Jews and fast 3 days so that she can then go to the king. She will also fast 3 days. And with that spirit of repentance, she'll go to the king and do her work in trying to avert the decree and get the king to change his mind and not allow Haman's decree to go forward. And that's why we have Purim, the whole story of Purim. But it's interesting, and that's why we fast to commemorate those 3-day fast day. Of course, we don't do 3 days, we do 1 day. But it's interesting that Esther tells Mordechai, Leich kenos es kol haYehudim, go and gather all the Jews. And grammatically in Hebrew, she could have simply said, Leich kenos haYehudim, go gather the Jews. And obviously she means all the Jews. Why did she have to say all the Jews with an emphasis? Now sages tell us that the reason is because she thought that if she would just say, go collect the Jews and gather them to fast, Mordechai would not have gathered all the Jews. He would have left out a certain group. Which group would that be? So the group that he would leave out were, as we know, the reason that this terrible decree happened to begin with was because there was a group of Jews that when Achashverosh made his banquet, he invited everyone, and the Jews shouldn't have gone, and they went, and they mingled there with the non-Jews, and they saw the desecration of God's name, how Achashverosh used all the vessels of the holy temple that he had in Babylon and Persia. And this was a terrible desecration of God's name, and for that reason, the decree against the Jewish people happened. So Mordechai felt that to collect those very Jews that went to the party wouldn't make any sense. They're the reason for the trouble. They're going to be there. They're the problem, not the solution. They can't be part of the solution. And Esther said, no, you go and collect every single Jew. You're right, these Jews may have sinned, and they had a moment of weakness, but I know, she said, what weakness looks like. I live in the king's palace. I'm invited to the king's banquet every single day. I have to choose and say I'm not going to eat that food because it's not kosher, and I have to figure out a way to wiggle out of it because they didn't know she was kosher, she was Jewish. So she had to always come up with a reason why she can't eat the food and so on. So she said, I know what it means to be tested with a banquet of the king. And it's not easy. And therefore, she said, those Jews that weren't strong enough that day, it doesn't mean that they can't be part of the solution. Every Jew should be part of the salvation of the Jewish people. You don't leave any Jew out. The people that kept kosher, and even those that didn't keep kosher. God is always welcoming of every single Jew's repentance. You're right, they were part of the problem, but they can also be part of the solution. It's a great lesson. Sometimes the women catch on to this more than the men. It was Esther, not Mordechai, that recognized this truth. And she told him, therefore, go and collect every single Jew. Because when Mashiach comes, it's going to be, number one, the women that bring that about. That's what our sages tell us. And it's going to be through their influence that every single Jew, religious or not, observant or not, will be part of the solution to bring Mashiach, hopefully immediately. And this is why the sages tell us that Purim will be celebrated even when Mashiach comes. Because this message is important for the coming of Mashiach, because we need every single Jew to be part of that process. Now let's go and bring Mashiach. Good Shabbos and a happy Purim to everyone. And an easy fast.